أحبائنا المشاهدين، بنحب نرحب بكم مرة تانية في حلقة جديدة من برنامجكم علاجك في بيتك. بنحب نرحب بدكتور جويس معنا هنا في الاستوديو. أهلا وسهلا بيكي. النهاردة هتكلمينا عن موضوع مهم جدا وهو المناعة. إيه هي المناعة؟ حابين نعرف المشاهدين أكتر عن الموضوع ده.
Well, what is immunity? It's our body's ability to fight off disease and illness and bad things like cancer. Our bodies use something called the lymphatic system, and the lymphatic system consists of several organs, but also lymphatic nodes, or lymph nodes we call them, and also the white blood cells that come to the point and actually kill the intruders to keep us well.
طيب ده معناه انه احنا بنعيش وبنعتمد على السيستم ده او على النظام المناعي ده او الجهاز المناعي. طب ازاي نحسن الجهاز المناعي بتاعنا؟
Well, the number one way to increase our immunity is having a very good eating plan or diet.
يعني التغذية بتلعب دور مهم هنا دلوقتي في المناعة. طيب عايزين نعرف ايه هي الأغذية المفيدة لتحسين المناعة بتاعتنا بقى؟
Well, there's a Dr. Joel Fuhrman who's written a book that I really like because it's so full of good information. And the title of that book is Super Immunity. And so he gives us 5 things that we should do every day, that we should eat every day. Would you like to know what they are?
أكيد طبعا.
So he says, every day we should eat a large green salad full of vegetables and leafy greens and that kind of thing. And we should have at least 1 cup of some sort of legume, beans, lentils from that family. Number 3, eat at least 3 fresh fruits. And he says especially things like pomegranate seeds, berries, cherries, and plums and oranges. He mentions those specifically. Number 4 is at least 1 ounce of raw tree nuts and seeds every day. Now 1 ounce isn't very big, so we shouldn't eat the whole bag, but 1 ounce is about a handful. And number 5 is at least 1 large double serving, that means a lot on your plate, of green vegetables.
كلها حاجات سهلة.
Some raw and some steamed and maybe some in soups, so a variety of ways.
كلها حاجات سهلة وبسيطة وتقريبا محببة لكلنا. يعني اللون الأخضر كلنا بنحب السلطة وهي فيها اللون الأخضر، فكويس إنه نعرف إن ده كمان بيزود شغل للجهاز المناعي بتاعنا وبيحسن أدائه كمان. طب إيه الأكلات اللي المفروض ما ناكلهاش؟
You knew that he would mention that too, didn't you? And he does. He calls them the 5 deadliest foods. So we want to pay attention to this.
أكيد.
Number 1 is barbecued meat, processed meat, and commercial red meat. You know, when meat is barbecued, the fat drips down on the coals and then it comes back up into a smoke that gets on the meat that's cancer causing. So that's one thing about barbecued meat. Processed meat, even the WHO, the World Health Organization, has come out with a statement is, don't feed processed meat to your children, it's cancer causing. So if it's not good for our children either, I don't think it's good for any of us. And then commercial red meat, because it, in order to make a lot of meat, you have to have a lot of cattle in one place in many areas of the world that do this. So in order to keep them well, they have to give them a lot of antibiotics, hormones to grow fast so they can get them in the market and slaughtered. So it's things you don't really want in your system. So that's number 1. So number 2 is fried foods. We all like fried foods, but we have to remember that we can do food in another way. We can put it in the ovens, put a little oil on the top and put it in the oven, and we get very similar results without having all that oil. And that, again, heating oil to a huge high temperature for frying is also another cancer-causing thing.
كمان بيساعدنا على ان احنا نكون عندنا يعني جسم رشيق. انا بفتكر لما نبطل بس اكل الزيت ممكن نشيل من اوزاننا كتير.
Full fat dairy, he says, and that includes cheese, sorry to say, ice cream, butter, and whole milk. Now, there's an interesting thing about ice cream, too, is that we find that all of these things, of course, have cholesterol in, because all of our animal foods have cholesterol. So these cheese, ice cream, all these things have high cholesterol. But the interesting thing is the worst kind is the one that's oxidized, in other words, mixed with air. And that's where your ice cream comes in, because it's kind of fluffy and it's got maybe eggs and milk together, if it's really good ice cream. And it's mixed to be fluffy, so it's mixed with air. And when that happens, it's very hard on our body because we can't handle it. So easier is just plain cholesterol, but very difficult for our body is the oxidized, and ice cream is one of those, and puddings that have milk and eggs and sugar.
طب هل في بدائل طبيعية للآيس كريم زي مثلا لبن الجوز الهند أو لبن اللوز؟ كل دي حاجات بتدي أطعام حتى أفضل من الآيس كريم اللي معمول بالقشطة أو بالحاجات التقيلة والصعبة على أجسادنا دي.
I agree, and even there's a way you can use fruit and bananas to make something very similar in feel and taste to ice cream, and really it's tasty. It gives you the feel of ice cream, but it's healthy for you, so it's nice to have something nice like that to replace it with. Also, in this group of three is also something called trans fats. These are fats that used to be oils that have been manufactured to be solid at room temperature. So any of those kinds of things, the types of shortenings that you buy, or animal fat, you know, when it's cool, it's solid at room temperature. So all of those things are very harmful, and he calls them deadly. So we have to think
بنعرفها
about.
بس من الملمس بتاعها أو من القوام بتاعها. إذا كانوا تقيل بنقدر نعرف إذا دي هتكون تقيلة على جسمنا كمان.
Right, and like you said, it's hard. It's heavy on our bodies too, because it's harder for us to metabolize it and get rid of it. It likes to stay on the inside of our arteries. Okay, I have two more things.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 4, soft drinks, sugar, and artificial sweeteners too. Some people say, "Oh, this doesn't have any sugar in it," but maybe there's something worse. You know, you don't need any more chemicals. We're surrounded by chemicals everywhere and all the time. So as much as we can get away from chemicals, the better.
وهو دايما كمان حتى الطعم هيبتدي الواحد يتذوق أكتر بدون سكر. هيبتدي يدوق طعم الحلو للفاكهة، طعم الحلو للخضرة بدون أي إضافات تاني من السكريات. مظبوط.
And if we stay away from sugar for a while, many people find that these things taste sweeter to them. Fruit tastes sweeter. You taste even your vegetables sweet. Carrots, peppers, very nice. So it's good to lower the amount of those that we eat. And then his 5th one of the dangerous foods or deadly foods are white flour products. Again, no fiber in that. Just starch with, and then the problem is when those things are manufactured, all the good things are taken out of them with the fiber, and so there's really not much nutrition, but there's a lot of calories that cause weight gain, and we don't need that.
طيب عايزين نعرف ايه بقى الأكلات اللي ممكن تكون ممتازة وتحسن من الأداء الوظيفي لجهاز المناعة بتاعنا، علشان أحبائنا المشاهدين يقدروا يعرفوا جزء منها حتى، وإذا بيقدروا يتابعونا بعد كده يقدروا يعرفوا الباقي.
He's given a list of 25 superfoods, and it's a very interesting list, and I'm sure people will find at least several things on here that they already like, but let me just give you a few. Collard, mustard, and turnip greens are at the top of the list. He's categorized it by number. So he gives these very dark green leafies 1,000. Okay? And so he goes on down the list until he gets to about 60. But any green like kale, watercress, the
سبانخ.
Yes, and arugula that we use, carrots, broccoli, cauliflower, bell peppers, all of these that we use every day. These are he calls them superfoods. Tomatoes and all the berries, pomegranates, because they're very dark. Anything that's really dark colored, green, red, yellows, and oranges. So grapes, cantaloupe, and onions are in there, and they're a superfood too. And then seeds, flaxseed is a very good one. It also gives us our omega-3s. Sunflower seeds, sesame seeds, chia seeds, if you can get them in this part of the world, and all variety of beans. Any bean, any legume, any lentil, all of those are also considered superfoods. And then all varieties of nuts. Of course, our raw nuts are better because it doesn't have added oil, doesn't have added salt, and it hasn't been heated to, we don't know how high, you know, to get it. If you want to roast your nuts, roast them at home in just a low oven for a very few minutes, and you'll get that roast flavor, but it hasn't been too high, so that they're still good. But, you know, we need to help our children learn to eat these things. Because they're used to biscuits and fries, and that's all they want. Potatoes are an okay vegetable, but you notice they're not on this list. They're not on this list. They're not a superfood. So we don't want to just give our kids fried potatoes and that's it. We want to make sure they have greens and yellows and some of these from the superfoods.
وكمان هم برضو فيهم يعني المقرمشات بتاعتهم طبيعية. They are also crunchy. تمام. طيب عايزين نعرف في هل فيتامينات معينة بتحسن من الأداء الوظيفي لجهاز المناعة بتاعنا؟
Well, some say that there are certain vitamins and herbs that can improve immunity, but really we want to get our vitamins from our food.
تمام. طب في ايه تاني ممكن يحسن الأداء الجهاز المناعي بتاعنا غير الأكل؟
Well, you know, I have a lot to say about this, and maybe this is a good thing to wait for after our break.
تمام. طيب دلوقتي أعزائنا المشاهدين هنكون معاكم فاصل ونرجع نعرف ايه أكتر عن حاجات ممكن تساعدنا تحسن جهازنا المناعي غير الأكل اللي احنا سمعناه دلوقتي من دكتور جويس. ولو أي حاجة كانت فاتتكم في الحلقة بتاعتنا النهاردة أو ما سمعتوش كل الأكلات اللي هي بنسميها أكلات الممتازة اللي بتحسن من أداء الجهاز المناعي، بنطلب منكم أنتوا تتابعونا على الإيميل اللي بيظهر قدامكم على الشاشة دلوقتي، ونقدر نتابعكم بعد كده بالمزيد منها، ونقدر نديكم وصفات أكتر وطرق أكتر نقدر نساعد جسمنا بيها يكون عنده جهاز المناعي سليم.
Good. Vitamins and herbs are important in our diet, of course, but we can get them from our food. And of course, we use herbs to flavor our food. And I know that in this part of the world, we use a lot of herbs, which are very good, and like cumin and turmeric, and I could go on and on. So those we should use because they're very efficacious in helping us with those micronutrients that we need. But most of our vitamins we should really get from our food. That's the ideal thing. In fact, Dr. Furman is saying that the key component to obtaining incredible health is to eat these wonderful foods that we've mentioned earlier. Vegetables, fruits, nuts and seeds, legumes, the beans, and other nutrient-rich foods. So those are where we get what we need. And in the plant foods, that's where we find our micronutrients that we need to stay healthy. And that's why we should eat so many of them. So if we eat more of these protective foods, we get more protection ourselves against illness. And unfortunately, animal products don't give us those micronutrients. So we really need to concentrate on the plant foods to get those things.
والموضوع كتير يعني محبب انه بس ناكل كويس وناكل صح. مظبوط. طيب بس الاكل هو اللي ممكن يحسن من جهازنا المناعي ولا في حاجات تانية ممكن نعملها؟
It's good you mentioned this because there's many other things we can do.
Yeah.
I would say if we were listing them according to what was most important and what was least important, I would certainly put food up at the top. But the next one is very important too, and that's exercise. In fact, we know by scientific studies that people who exercise on a regular basis have less of some kinds of cancer. So exercise really has a big part in our immunity as well. And because it moves the blood, and the circulation helps, and of course our heart is moving the blood. But also we talked a little bit about the immune system, the lymphatic system, and that requires, it doesn't have a pump like the heart. It has to be pumped by the muscles. As we move our joints and move our muscles, that moves the lymphatic system, and the more it moves, the more healthy it is to attack those intruders that can make us ill. Exercise also clears out our lungs so that we can obtain more oxygen for our blood to take to different parts of our bodies. And for a lot of people, when they do get on an exercise routine, they find that it increases their mood. And of course,
بتحسن الحالة المزاجية كمان، لأنه بتشغل بعض الهرمونات اللي موجودة في جسمنا، فبتحسن من حالتنا كمان المزاجية. طيب حابين نعرف ايه انواع الرياضة اللي ممكن نعملها ونمارسها هتساعدنا على تحسين الجهاز المناعي؟
Well, there's many kinds. I mean, even walking. Just think about it. Walking moves all of your joints, especially if you swing your arms.
كل جسمنا.
Right. And it's in moving our lymphatic system, moving a joint, this is where our lymph nodes are, on all back of our knees and our neck. Anything that moves, it has nodes there, and that keeps the lymphatic system healthy and moving. And any aerobic activity, running, swimming, those kinds of things, anything that moves the joints and the muscles will work.
طيب تقدري تعملي لنا بشكل عملي بعض من التمارين اللي نقدر نستفيد منها ونحسن من جهازنا المناعي النهارده؟
You want me to show you one?
أكيد.
It's something that's real easy to do, and if you feel like I don't have time to exercise, you can still move your immune system. So let me show you that. It's kind of fun, actually. You just raise your hands, and then as you bring your hands down, you bring your knee up. Okay? And then you do that on the other side. And what I like to do is open my hands wide, because that also moves the lymphatic nodes in my hands. So here we go for a few. And you can do this as fast as you want. Keep your toes pointed. So I'm moving all my joints. And in just a few minutes, you've moved your whole lymphatic system, and of course you've increased your breath and your heart rate, and all of that's good.
طيب تقدري تقولي لنا ايه تاني ممكن نعمله غير التمارين دي؟
You know, I brought this with me, so you know why. This is called, this is used for dry brushing of the skin. Now this is made of natural fibers, and that's what we want to use, not plastic fibers, because they hurt the skin, but these are all rounded so they don't hurt your skin. And I like to use it dry. Some people, when they first start, they find it a little bit too rough. So use it wet in the shower. You can also use a loofah in the shower with the same results. I like this better for dry, and I do it before my shower, and then I wash all that dry skin off. And so it helps with dry skin and also moving your lymphatic system. So our lymphatic system drains into our vessels that are above the heart. So that's where we start. We start by brushing down on the chest. I'm not going to do this over my microphone. And then we go to the neck. You can turn your neck and go up like this.
كلها حركات للأعلى.
Just because the neck, we go toward the heart, but you know we don't want our skin to come down on our neck, so that's why I brush up on the neck. And I have a small brush for my face too. But so then we go to our armpit, again toward our heart, and I'm going to go all the way down my arm, but as I'm going down, I'm brushing up. So I can brush all the skin up all the way around 4 or 5 times in an area, and then concentrate on the joint, and then get the back and the front, and then my hands, the back of the hands, and then I go back up, all the way up. So I do that on both sides, and then you can also do it on your abdomen, up on the chest like this, back up to your armpit, abdomen, both sides, of course. And then you have this area where you bend your hips, and so that's another area with a lot of lymph nodes. So you stimulate that area, and then you go up your leg, back of your knee, and then the other part of your knee and the bottom of your foot, and then all the way back up behind the knee, back up to here, and behind, also bringing it back to this joint. And it takes, if the whole thing, if you're waiting for your shower and you do this, it takes about 5 minutes. So it doesn't take a lot of time, and it's very, very good for.
بس الفرشة مش بتكون خشنة شوية على الجلد؟
So yeah, it looks like it's going to be stiff. But
بس الصوت يمكن بس على القماش، لكن على الجلد ناعمة.
yeah. So remember, if you do a natural brush, it's more round. The bristles are more round, and so it doesn't
ممتاز.
hurt.
طيب حابين نعرف أكتر لو حد مش هيقدر يعمل التمارين دي.
Because you do have people who have injuries or can't exercise, at least for temporarily. So massage can help with that, because again, you're moving the lymphatic system. In fact, there's a special kind of massage for a lymphatic.
حضرتك كنتي برضو أكدتي على النقطة دي لما أخذنا في بعض الحلقات هنشوف المساج أو التدليك ممكن إزاي يساعد على تحسين الغدد الليمفاوية في جسمنا. مظبوط. إيه تاني ممكن نعمله؟
Well, there's a lot of things.
Yeah.
I can give you a big list, but let's talk about water. We need to drink enough water, and we need to have some sunshine every day. You know, that's where we get our vitamin D. It's not really from a food. We get our vitamin D from the sun, and so we need some sun every day. All right, get enough sleep. Most people need 7 or 8 hours a night, and so that's what we want people to try for. To take a Sabbath rest every week. And what that is laying aside your daily work, even your housework, having that done before, taking time to spend with God and your family, and just forget the troubles for one day. Just lay down your burdens for one day. And that's very beneficial. And God has given us that because He knows we need it.
صحيح. مش بس هيساعدنا على ان احنا نحسن صحة الجسد، كمان صحة الروح.
Yes,
مزبوط.
for sure. And we should take the time to breathe deeply, because I know many people when they're stressed, they breathe very shallowly or even hold their breath. And we want to practice and remember that when we find ourselves holding our breath, to take a deep breath and try to breathe more deeply.
صحيح. لما بنكون مشدودين اوقات، يعني يمكن في بدايه البرنامج الواحد مش بياخد نفسه بطريقه طبيعيه، بس مع الوقت خلاص بيبتدي يتعود انه لازم ياخد النفس بطريقه مظبوطه حتى يقدر يستفيد من الاكسجين اللي موجود في الجو.
Yeah, it's amazing what it does when you're tired. Take a deep breath, and sometimes that tiredness goes away too. Then we need to eat moderately of the good things, not overdo that, not even the good things. And avoid the harmful things. So that could be tobacco, that could be alcohol, those kinds of things that we know are bad for us. And then maybe the most important thing to lower our stress is to put all of our trust in God.
امين. صحيح. محتاجين نرمي كل الاحمال، الاتعاب، كل شيء على الله. هو هياخد باله مننا كويس جدا، زي ما هو منتبه لنا وبيحافظ علينا وبيرعانا طول الوقت. اكيد نقدر نعمل كل الحاجات دي بمنتهى السهولة، بس حاجتين. اسهل شيء نهتم بصحتنا ونستبعد او نبتعد عن الاشياء اللي بتأذينا. فافتكر احبائنا حلقتنا هتنتهي دلوقتي، ولكن نحب نسمع تعليقاتكم واستفساراتكم عبر الايميل اللي بيظهر قدامكم. خليكم دايما متابعينا، ونحب دايما نشارك معكم كل المعلومات الصحية اللي كلنا بنحتاجها في حياتنا اليومية. واهلا بكم في برنامجكم علاجك في بيتك.